There are companies that for some reasons cannot or will not move to Epicor's multi-tenant SaaS, and Custom Cloud gives them a single tenant SaaS option that
Right.
provide most of the flexibility that they had with on-prem, the flexibility, the access, the control. Hello.
Hello, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good. So we are here because yesterday Epicor announced that the 2028.1 release will be the final on-prem release that will include new features and updates, essentially meaning that all further innovation will be delivered exclusively in the cloud, which I think everyone knew was coming, but now it's a reality, and sometimes that brings some panic to people. So hopefully after today's conversation, we'll bring that ease of mind.
I want to make sure that everyone knows that, neither Epicor nor 2W were blindsided by this. This is, we've been planning, we've been working, we've been developing. We're hand in hand, lockstep with Epicor.
Yes, good call out. So I did want to go over, there are three options, and we're going to focus on one heavily today, but the three options that you have if you are on-prem right now is you can remain on-prem and receive active support through 2029, and then after that transition to sustaining support. But as we all know, sustaining support, you get very limited technical and application assistance, so that's not something we recommend. We're recommending to most clients to make that strategic, proactive move and migrate to the cloud through either Epicor SaaS or the newest cloud option, which is Custom Cloud, and that's what we're focusing on today. So Custom Cloud is an offering sold by Epicor, provided by us 2W, and built on Microsoft Azure. So I have Tom, our CTO here, and he's going to kind of dive into the details of this, hopefully help explain it a little bit more. But let's start with the purpose behind this option and why we thought there was a need for another cloud option to begin with.
So 2028.1 will be the last, on-premises licensed version of Epicor. And yeah, then you'll be able to get, real support through 2029 and then sustaining support after that. For customers out there with compliance requirements or even maybe some insurance requirements, things like that, there's probably a lot of reasons why sustaining support doesn't really, doesn't work for their business. And, Epicor SaaS is a mature product now, and it's, they've invested heavily in it. They developed it over the years, and a lot of customers, it's now the right move for. Keeps you up to date, provides accessibility from wherever you need. They're with the Kinetic UI, modern interfaces, modern workflows. It's it's probably the right choice for the majority of businesses. Epicor recognized, and 2W's known all along, that not all businesses fit that model. And some need more control over their data or more access to their data or better availability of read-only replica, or even in some cases writing replicas, custom external code, lots of integrations, lots of customizations, control over their upgrade cycle. Some customers have different compliance requirements or other business requirements that they might have a different testing cycle. But so there's a lot of reasons that Epicor and 2W have been, working on this custom cloud product. And so what Kinetic Custom Cloud is a cloud version of your Kinetic ERP, and it gives you much closer, finer-grained access to your data, to your application. The ability to directly connect integration servers, VPN connectivity to your databases, to your application servers, to your REST API endpoints, things like that. There's a lot of customizable options. It's in the name. It's Custom Cloud. And we're allowing and giving customers that fine-grained single tenant access that that isn't available with SaaS.
And then do you just want to briefly mention logistics with Epicor and 2W's part in this?
Yeah, what it is still an Epicor product. It's an Epicor SKU. You'll buy it through your Epicor partner. You don't buy it directly through 2W, unless 2W is your Epicor partner. And they place an order for Epicor Custom Cloud. that includes it all. So that's all the licensing, the database licensing, the OS licensing, the access stuff, all of that. Your Epicor licenses are all part of your Epicor order. Your Epicor add-ons that are any first-party tools or add-ons are all part of that order. So you're able to work directly with Epicor. Your support for Custom Cloud comes from Epicor. So if you've got an issue, whether it's I can't post this invoice for some reason, or this custom report of mine isn't working, or heaven forbid you're having a performance issue or an access issue or something like that, you open an Epicor case just like you would with SaaS. So you're going to open a case with Epicor. And where necessary, Epicor will pull 2W's dedicated engineers in to work on that structure or something like that. If it's something that the 2W is providing, one of the components we're providing, we provide that option. We fill in those spaces where where Epicor doesn't do that, and that's not their core competency. Ours. Years now, we've been delivering Epicor in cloud environments with high performance, high capability, high availability, and we're going to continue to do that.
So you had mentioned that one of the bigger benefits with custom cloud is the control and visibility aspect, and one of the big reasons for that is having control over upgrades. So do you want to just talk a little bit about that and maybe the process, because that also goes through Epicor, right?
The upgrade process for custom cloud. Because it's your environment, it's not a shared environment, you get to say when you want to do the upgrades. So we offer patching as part of it. So we keep you at the current patch level. That's not changing the user interface. That's not changing the database schema. And even for the patching, we reach out and say, hey, there's patch available, and you can bypass that as long as you like. Epicor leans toward, and we're leaning hard toward trying to keep people within 18 months, so you're within that current support window, which one of the outstanding questions that's out there with Epicor's change announcement is, what will that support window look like? We're working on that, but it's going to be something like that, 18 months still. So you have that option of passing over on the patches. We don't recommend passing on patches, but you can pass on patches. And then when it actually comes to an upgrade, so your version upgrades, your 2025.1 or whatever, 2024.2, those are at your discretion. You place an order through your partner. If 2W is your partner, you would call up your ERP implementation consultant or partner and say, hey, we're ready to move to 2024.2. And we'd say, great. Let's get you on the schedule and set you up and set up. Same as those who are familiar with our Epicor and Azure environments, where we would give you a test environment. You go in, you'd test, you'd pilot, you would pick a go live date, and you go live. That's all. Those are all price list things, so it's a very, very clearly defined, very user or end customer managed process, rather than being told when it's going to happen and then go along.
Mm-hmm. Right. Okay. And then another advantage I wanted to dive a little deeper into is the ability to host/integrate third-party applications in the environment.
Yeah. So with Custom Cloud, one of the things that you get, so when you place an order for Custom Cloud, as long as you're over 10 users, you get, one of the things that you get is a virtual machine in Azure. That is an integration server that you get to run, control, log into, remote into. You've got it. It's there in your cloud environment, right alongside your data, right alongside your application server or servers. And so that alone, for people with third-party integrations, is a huge benefit. To be able to run, whatever their piece is. They might have some kind of tie logic that they need to run. They might have some kind of custom built homebrewed application that they want to run there. They might have web interface, whatever that is. They've got that ability. And the custom cloud implementation SKUs include a little bit of time each month for our engineers to work with your team, or the customer team if need be, or with their partner is really where we prefer to work. To expose a public interface or that kind of thing. So does that start to shed some light there anyway?
Yeah, no, I think that's good.
By being your managed environment, you've got all these options, right? So many of them are ones that have carried over from Epicor's multi-tenant SaaS, single sign-on, multi-factor authentication, integration with your Entra ID or Azure Active Directory, it used to be called, right? Your M365 login, to use that for single sign-on or for login, and to control access, quite frankly. So I could use your Microsoft 365 login for you to log into Epicor, and we could manage what access you have, things like that. Private endpoints is a big deal for people. So the ability to create an endpoint that they can hook their maybe external third-party CRM application or something to securely. That's a big one. Access to their data in general, though, is one of the driving factors that some companies need to have those additional capabilities.
I mean, one of the other big things, and you touched on it a little bit, is the security aspect, and now this goes towards people that may be in some type of cloud, but not Azure. And I know custom cloud is built on a lot of security on the back end.
Yeah, so for custom cloud, we rely on first of all the entire Microsoft security stack. So their cloud security stack is extensive. It's best in breed in almost every area measured. It's up there all by itself in the upper right corner of the Gartner quadrants. I don't want to jinx anything, but we've never had any of our cloud customers ever lose any data in their Azure environments that are protected by 2W or by our configuration. We customer managed backup and redundancy, disaster recovery routines, things like that. So again, we've got defaults that we put in place for all of those things, but the end customer has got the ability to request or self-manage changes to those, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
Again, we've got some baselines that we wouldn't want you to drop below. Compliance, build in, audit ready, all the auditing, all the logging, things like that. Again, we're building these environments for the customers that need those things. So a lot of that is turned on by default. Custom cloud is available in Azure GCC, so the US government cloud as well, GCC High, GCC. So those capabilities exist, and we can integrate with GCC High identity providers as well. So that's a big one for people that really drives things. I'm trying to think of what else in there. With custom cloud, you have the ability to deploy it in your own Azure tenant if you've got one, your own Microsoft tenant if you've got one. There's some limitations around all that. We'd get into details, but if you do that, that gives your team access as well to all of those security logs and things. So it's always your tenant. I want to actually make that super clear. You get the ability to deploy it into either an existing tenant that you have or to a tenant that we provision for you. Either way, it is the customer's tenant. It's the customer's data and their environment, and that's how we treat that. And that I think that's important to security teams and compliance teams as well.
Oh, for sure. So should we talk about the different ways this could play out for those in different situations, like those on-prem versus maybe in Azure already?
Yeah, no, we should talk about that. We should talk about some of the paths that, where customers may find themselves, right? So you started off talking about, stay on-prem for another couple of years. That's an option for people.
Yep.
Move to Epicor SaaS. That's an option for people. Move to custom cloud. That's an option for people. So let's talk then about custom cloud specifically. How do I get there? If you're in Epicor in Azure, so if you're in a 2W, the 2W product called Epicor in Azure, you've got a very short path. We've got a migration option for you. It's going to be a matter of working with your Epicor partner to order custom cloud and order the migration, and we'll make that happen. That can happen in a very short time window. Really, it's just going to be get in the line and do that. That's a short migration path. And then at that point, your support would change around. You'd be now on a SaaS licensing. So, all of that, the contractual stuff would change, and I'm not gonna get into the details of that stuff. That's all. Talk to your partner about that. I just don't know the answers. I'm not trying to hide anything.
Yeah.
But you'd change to a SaaS license from a perpetual license. And that it would otherwise be a very short path. If you're in some other environment, so you're in a hosted environment, you're in a co-located environment, you're in an on-premises environment, virtual machines, whatever, you're in some other environment and you want to get to custom cloud. What that looks like is a migration, and usually we offer and recommend that people do an upgrade at the same time. So it's going to be about that same kind of a path. We would provision, so you'd order it through your Epicor partner. We want to move to custom cloud. You get a reach out message from us saying, hey, we're your Kinetic custom cloud provider. Here's some information that we need, which is we're going to ask you about what version you're currently on. We're going to ask you about where your users are located. What kind of access do you need? Do you want individual remote access, or do you only want users at your office sites to have access? Compliance requirements, things like that. It's a fairly simple questionnaire, but you may want to have a technical person available as you're filling it out. It's not bad. So you're going to fill that out, send it back. Then you're going to get a message back saying, okay, great, here's the next path. We're going to get a copy of your database, a copy of any external customizations, things like that. We're going to pull a copy of custom reports. So, we basically gather together the stuff that we need to build a test environment for you. Then if we're doing an upgrade as part of that, we'll upgrade that database as well at the same time, run it through those pieces, and give you access then to a test environment. That could take anywhere from a couple weeks to a couple months, depending on the complexity of your environment and just kind of where you're falling, quite frankly, in the queue. That test have up and available. Continue to work in your existing one. Once you're comfortable with the test, we pick a go live date and plan a cutover. Among other things, we offer VPN, site-to-site VPN connection to that we mentioned earlier. So you may do more or less a staged migration where you're leaving a lot of your third-party things, integrations and stuff behind, and running those over that VPN pipe, and then start to move those over. The SKUs for add-ons and things like that can be added over time. So let's say that you wanted to add an ECM server to your environment, and 6 months after you've done the major migration, you would add that SKU, right? So each of those price list items can be added over time, and that's what the path would look like. So it's well worked out. We have literally hundreds of companies, very large multinationals, running in this environment. And I like to think that we've figured out a lot of the paths and a lot of the gotchas along the way. And again, it's custom cloud. The design of it is custom, and there will be, your company may have its own quirks and its own things that need to get worked through, and we'll do that with you and with your Epicor partner.
Yep. And with all that said, don't wait until Q3 of 2029 to get started, because every partner only has an X amount of resources.
Thanks for Danielle for bringing that up. That, look, your partners, whether it's 2W or someone else, have got limited resources to support your testing and your migration. 2W, of course, we have. I mean, look, we've got a great team, but there's only so many of them, and we can only be working on so many migrations at a given time. So there's a limitation to that. Don't wait until the last minute. Don't find yourself in a situation where, you're having to explain to your compliance officer that you're on an unsupported version of the software, or that, patches or security updates aren't coming, or that payroll updates aren't coming, or whatever the thing is that will be your gotcha, right? Let's make sure that you get in line early, have the time to do the testing, and get your migration done smoothly and cleanly rather than, waiting to the last minute.
Okay. Is there anything else you can think of you want to make people aware of? Anything else you want to add?
So, Custom Cloud, Kinetic Custom Cloud includes some nice to haves. The quarterly DBA cleanup and tuning routines. We include patching, the quarterly patching in that as well. It's included as part of Custom Cloud, not an add-on. Security and compliance updates, all aligned with federal mandates. Like we adhere very strictly to what CISA and Microsoft are recommending, and follow along with those in lockstep. 2W, we've been doing Microsoft Azure for a very long time now. Like I said, 10 years of doing Epicor in it, and really since the beginning of Azure, we've been there. And we're a Microsoft Direct partner. We don't go through resellers. We work directly with Microsoft. We're part of Microsoft Teams. We provide resources to them. They provide resources to us. So there's a very close relationship there. And we hold all of the relevant, used to be called competencies. Now it's, we're a solutions provider in all of the relevant areas around infrastructure, cloud, AI, data, all that stuff, right? So, 2W is ideally suited to this, given that we've also done Epicor since long before it was called Epicor. So that, I think that puts us in a good position. And Custom Cloud being available as a SaaS license from Epicor through your Epicor partner makes it simple. You've got one vendor to call for your ERP. Call Epicor. Open a ticket with Epicor. Track your tickets on Epicor. It makes for a very simple, very clean relationship. So I think that's an advantage even above and beyond 2W's native Epicor and Azure product. Let's see, incident response, audit support. For those that are doing a CMMC or those types of compliance things, there's a shared responsibility matrix, and the documentation around that is available to you. ITAR support, we didn't talk specifically about that, but for customers that need U.S. persons and have all of that, again, we've got the Azure GCC High environment, as well as regulated workloads, regulated personnel, regulated pathways for support. That's all handled. That's all baked in if you're buying the GCC version of Custom Cloud. So that's a big deal. You don't have to spend nearly as much time thinking about that. Keeps your compliance officer, able to go on vacation once a year. The big thing here is it's SaaS but it's single tenant. So Custom Cloud is SaaS licensing. You're gonna be paying that recurring thing. Look, we all are aware that's what cloud companies want. That's what ERP companies want. That's the model that they've moved to, that they've picked. Epicor's not unique in that in any way. You don't have to then also have all of the pain of multi-tenant SaaS if that's not something that your company can do or wants to do. You've got an option with Custom Cloud. We want to be there for our clients. We want to make sure they know we got your back. And for our other partners, look, we are an Epicor reseller. We're an Epicor partner. We're out there. We sell Epicor software. We sell Epicor consulting services. We're one of the largest, if not the largest, partner in the world doing those things. And but the other Epicor resellers, the other Epicor partners that are out there are our partners. We're in this together. This is a big market. It's a big world. There's a lot of clients. There's a lot of verticals. And we're there with Custom Cloud for those people as well.
Yeah, that's a good reminder. We're all one ecosystem.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you. That's the word I was like needing. Ecosystem.
Awesome. Yeah, I feel like the main message is you're not being forced yet, but eventually this won't be an option. Everyone will have to migrate to the cloud. So better to start earlier and be proactive about it, especially now that there is an actual date to it.
Like I said earlier, we knew this was coming. This wasn't a surprise, but actually having a date is good, and having being able to have a public conversation about it, I think, is really important.
Yeah, for sure. Down the line, once we get clients into this environment and we learn things and we get more feedback, there'll be a refreshed episode or maybe a webinar or something a little bit more concrete out there. So we'll make sure to make everyone aware when that gets published.
I anticipate, offering some, we have some great materials already available for partners and available through Epicor on what Custom Cloud is. And yeah, I would love to see us put together some demonstrations. What does end user remote access look like for Custom Cloud? Here's a hint. It looks like it does for Epicor SaaS, right? Or what does, how does the security of the REST API work? Or, what does remote access to my integration environment look like with Custom Cloud? These are things that we, would be happy to show off in one-on-one demos, and I don't see why we couldn't put some of them together into a series.
Yeah, for sure. That's a good idea. In the meantime, though, if anyone does have any questions and wants to reach out, you can email us at connect@2wtech.com. That's connect@2wtech.com. Otherwise, Tom, thank you for taking some time out of your day to have this conversation.
Yeah, cool. Well, thank you, Danielle, for making this happen. It's really important, and it's important to be talking to people. And like I said earlier, the conversation about this, I think, is really valuable.